checking subcooling, if it has a TXV charge, you still want to check your superheat.
Right.
Only because to make sure the TXV is operating. Because if TXV is not operating properly, someone could overcharge the air conditioner to try to compensate for that, or undercharge the air conditioner to compensate for that, remove some charge, reduce the capacity, and it's a faulty TXV. Same thing with a cap tube system or a fixed orifice. You're always going to want to check the other just to make sure, because if you got a restricted cap tube or a restricted orifice and it's not totally plugged, someone can grossly overcharge the air conditioner to compensate to get those superheat readings.
Can you check the temperature from one side of the TXV to the other to see if it's opening and closing?
No.
Like if you had two leads that you could strap on it.
You could.
On either end.
You could. Normally it's a little tough to get to that. So, but usually your TXV is going to probably maintain 10 to 12 degrees subcooling. You can just take a temperature of the suction line right at the evaporator outside, because the TXV bulb's right there, and get your superheat there. So if you're with 10 to 12 degrees superheat, you know the TXV is working. And a lot of things come in a factor to it. You know, human error, or they damage it or something like that, or it's malfunctioned. You have to either take it off, put the bulb in some warm water, see if it open up. A lot of stuff like that before you determine whether or not it's a bad TXV. So there's a few tricks you can do to determine whether or not the TXV is working.
Probably run a shock steamer over it too.
Yep, or wrap a hot rag around it. Usually take it off the suction line, because if the suction line is super cold, the TXV is going to start closing off, which is going to affect your pressures and your temperature, because due to plugged filter, dirty blower wheel, not enough airflow, someone's got the registers closed off, returns are covered, and that'll cause the evap coil to get real cold.
It's extremely critical on the superheat for the 410 systems versus 22, isn't it? Are they more critical as far as efficiency on the 410s versus 22, Jim?
No, it's not more critical. It's still all important for both refrigerants as far as the efficiency operation of the unit. If you're running less superheat, there's a chance you could flood back to the compressor and damage the compressor and damage the equipment. Not enough refrigerant, you're going to have more superheat, going to be less efficient, capacity is going to be reduced. It goes both ways. So you overflood it, you're going to reduce the capacity.
So for instance, this unit has a leak in the system, Jim. Do you believe in the leak freeze that they have out there?
No.
No?
No? Sean doesn't either.
No. I do not recommend putting stop leak. If you do, it's a last resort. Usually when you got condensing pressures of 300 PSI, I doubt it's going to fix a leak. It just push it right on out. It might work okay. I've heard some guys use it on coolers where you got real low pressures, operating pressures. Like if you had a leak in a evap coil and a walk-in cooler where your running pressure is 30 PSI or 20 PSI, then you might have some sort of luck.
Unit, do you think, would you use it on the 22 then?
I have used it numerous times and never had any luck with it.
We've had great luck with them.
I've never had luck with it.
Really?
I've had luck with it on coolers, walk-in coolers and stuff that's had a leak in the evaporator, small leak, but I've never had luck on regular air conditioning.
Have you ever used it in a 410 system?
No.
Just 22 systems?
Yeah, just our 22. Yeah, I've had it on cooler and a freezer, but it was on the indoor evaporator.
Okay.
But the pressures are real low, and I've had luck sealing it there. Actually, I have used it on R22 on a large system, 40 ton, quite a few cans, because the condenser coil leaked. And it was a very expensive condenser coil, and I was trying to buy him some time over the summer.
Did it work?
No.
Okay.
A week later, I was back dumping 40 pounds in it. Split condenser, it had 4 compressors. I didn't have much luck with it. Normally, I would just try to find a leak in the condensers. A lot of the ones in the condensers, like Train and that, it's got the round tube condensers, you can repair that, even if it's aluminum. They make those special couplings.
I've repaired a lot.
With those special couplings.
Not with the couplings, no. I've actually had to take the fin coils out and then put new copper in and braids.
Going to the aluminum?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they make a special flare fitting for a condenser. It's a swedge lock fit, and you can cut that out. You got a leak where it goes copper to aluminum, like on the Trains, a lot of the other brands.
Right.
You can just cut that out. You can buy that repair kit, and it comes with a stub of copper that's already flared. And that special union, you just cut that aluminum, tighten it up, braze the other end, where they give you copper. You can cut it to whatever length you want. It's already flared, it's already swedged out, so you can just connect it to the tubing.
So you don't have to glue, it's not glued onto the aluminum, it
crimps right down,
It crimps right on, huh?
It's a special flared fitting.
Okay, you have to have a special tool to grip it? Okay.
Nope, it's just a special flare type ring inside of it, a swedge type unit.
that can maintain that high pressure?
Oh, absolutely. I've used it on 410A.
Are you talking about where it hooks up on the valve?
No, in the condenser coil.
All right.
Aluminum, even that.
You know, like the old,
Yep.
it's got that 3/8 copper tubing going around and around. You can just peel the fins off, clean it up, and you can use that connector, even if it's in the center of the coil. You have to work a little bit harder to get it spread apart, but I've used it on 410A. In fact, Train sells it as a warranty repair. So instead of replacing the coil, whether or not you can get the coil at a timely manner, you can get that little swedge fitting, just do the repair that way. And I've used that a lot, and it works fine. Yeah, I've tried the stop leak, never had no success in it.
Yeah. I guess, I've talked to a lot of people that have had great success with it. I've used it about 5 times.
I guess it all depends on how big the leak
yeah,
is.
4 out of 5 times, and it depends if the leak's in the condenser or the evaporator.
Yeah, or how big it might be.
Yeah, how big it is.
Yeah.
They say it's, the biggest leak it's gonna repair is if it's gonna be 2 hair follicles wide. It's the biggest leak that you can repair.
Yeah.
It's 2 hair. If you take 2 hair follicles and put them together.
And a lot of times that's hard to determine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going out on a leak, unless you were just there and you know how long it took to leak out, that's going to be a hard thing to judge because you just don't know when you got there. Did it start 2 days ago? Did it start a year ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago? Especially if there's no history on it.
No.
Probably wouldn't go down that route.
Give them the option to determine if they want to put the stop leak in, especially if you're out there year after year versus replacing the outdoor unit.
There was a history to it, and it was like a ½ pound a year. That's probably a good starting point. But if it's an unknown, it's tough to put that in there knowing that the leak could have started yesterday.
It can't be in a vacuum, right?
No,
The leak freeze?
If you're in a vacuum, they say don't even try to put the leak freeze in because it means all the refrigerant is leaked out. And normally, especially if the unit was operating properly the year before, you know it leaked out within a short period of time.
Yeah, if there's any air in the system, we wouldn't want to just charge it up. If it's just low on refrigerant, but not empty, or in a vacuum while it was running. If it was running in a vacuum and the leak was on the low side, you sucked air in. And the only thing is, unless you find it, you won't know. You can find out where it's at. And that's more critical with 410A because that's a POE oil. It's hydroscopic. The oil, polyester oil, absorbs moisture. And you cannot remove it with the vacuum pump. You have to remove it with a dryer, a liquid line dryer, to remove the moisture out of POE oil. You don't want to change a compressor when it's raining. You try to limit the amount of moisture that there is. You got to do what you got to do, but I wouldn't recommend doing it.